Nintendo is no stranger into gambling. Giving the Metroid name to Retro Studios was a risky and yet successful move. Now Nintendo's putting their chips on the table once again, and are giving Team Ninja a chance. Can the minds behind Ninja Gaiden make a good Metroid game, or did Nintendo finally run out of luck?
Confession time.
The story picks up right after Super Metroid. After Samus wasted Mother Brain and destroyed planet Zebes, Samus receives a stress signal to investigate the space station called Bottleship. Upon arrival, Samus comes across a troop from the Galactic Federation. The commander of that troop is none other than Adam Malkovich, who Samus briefly mentions in Metroid Fusion. Samus decides to work with Adam in order to investigate the Bottleship. However, Adam asks full cooperation from Samus, and that includes not using most of her powers until he tells her to do so.
Samus, looks like I'm gonna need to ask for your cooperation on this mission, but I'm also gonna have to ask that you follow my commands. You don't move unless I say so, and you don't fire until I say so.
The story consists mostly of a book report of Samus's diary. Throughout the entire game, we see Samus talking about her past, her emotions, and the events that led her to be a bounty hunter. Many questions from other Metroid games are answered in Metroid Other M, which makes this game more appealing to the hardcore than the newcomer.
That's who I am.
Attempting to capture the old school feeling of Metroid games, Team Ninja decided to go third-person perspective for the most part. Players would be holding their controllers horizontally in order to control Samus. Pointing the Wiimote to the TV will switch Samus to a first-person perspective. In this perspective, Samus is allowed to scan objects like Metroid Prime and shoot missiles in order to open new paths. The only trade-off is that you're not allowed to move, making you a sitting duck for the enemies. A lot of gamers and critics alike were concerned about this, but it works really well. The first-person perspective is very easy to control and it feels very natural. But this will vary by the user. Some will like it, others will hate it. For us, we loved it. It's definitely a new style of gameplay that makes you feel more like you're in the game. The only complaint that we have is that sometimes throughout the game you're asked to find a certain object in one scene. It can be quite difficult to find what you're looking for since the game gives you no clues on what you're looking for. These moments feel unnecessary and quite frankly the game would have been much better off without them. Although finding secrets is still a part of gameplay, in Other M it doesn't seem to play an important role like in other Metroid games. You can easily skip all the items and still have no problems with beating the game. One key element in any Metroid game is finding secrets. And unfortunately, Metroid Other M doesn't have a lot of that, which sometimes doesn't quite make the game feel like a Metroid game. Power-ups will be unlocked as you progress through the game. Fans of the series will find familiar power-ups like the Speed Booster, Screw Attack, Super Missile, and others. Much like Super Metroid, all these power-ups play an important role in finding the secrets in the game. Enemies no longer drops energy or missiles. Instead, to recover your powers, you need to enter a concentration state, which is a process of pointing your Wiimote up and holding the button A. You can do that at any time to recover your missiles, but you can only recover energy if you're a very low amount. One big problem with Metroid Other M is how easy the game is. Save points are everywhere. The boss fights are very simple, and overall there's nothing very hard in this game at all. The difficulty in Metroid Other M almost makes you wonder if the game was targeted to a casual audience, which is weird because it's the hardcore who is going to be buying this game. Metroid Other M is very likely the best looking Wii game. It may not sound like much, but it definitely looks amazing. And the cinematic cutscenes looks just as good as any 360 or PS3 game you can think of. Unfortunately, the sound department doesn't quite hold up. A lot of the times there will be complete silence in the background, and most of the soundtracks are not very memorable, and it doesn't quite feel like it should be in a Metroid game. Metroid games have always relied heavily on the music in order to set the perfect mood for the game, and unfortunately Other M fails in that department. The game should take you about 8 hours to beat, and another 5 hours to collect every single item. After you beat the game for the first time, A gallery mode is unlocked, which allows you to take a look at some of the artwork for the game. There's also theater mode, which allows you to watch all the cinematic cutscenes from the game. If you collect every single item, you also unlock a hard mode, which should have been unlocked to begin with. For some reason, unlike any other Metroid game, Metroid M keeps you coming for more. You're gonna want to play the game again, and perhaps a third time. For some reason, the game has a certain appeal that makes you want to play the game again, which gives the game a very nice replayability. Metroid Other M is certainly a different step for the franchise, even more so than the Prime series was. Team Ninja attempted to focus more on the action than the exploration of the game, but with that said, it's still a pretty good game that will keep you coming for more. While Metroid fans will be a little bit confused with the new direction for the game, I could not recommend this game more for the people who have been following the series for a long time. If you're not big into the Metroid thing, you might want to rent this game. Either way, if you have a Wii, you should definitely check out Metroid Other M. Rewind Replay TV is giving Metroid Other M a 76 out of 100.